My proudest moments of her is her standing up and saying with courage and clarity, in Steve Bannon's own words and Donald Trump's own words, the platform that they gave to white supremacists, white nationalists, and it is a very, very important moment in our history as our country. And I think as his presidency goes forward, I'm going to be very glad to have been part of the campaign that tried
to. Jen, do you think that excuse me, she said white supremacists.
Well, I would actually like to follow up.
I know it's mentioned a lot on your website too. Do you think I ran a campaign where white supremacists had a platform? You going to look me in the face and tell me that?
It did. Kellyanne
really?
did.
Oh, and that's how you lost?
It did.
Do you think you could have just had a decent message for the white working class voters? Do you think this woman who has nothing in common with anybody...
I'm not saying that's why you won, but that's the kind of campaign that was run.
Over 200 counties that President Obama won and Donald Trump just won. You think that's because of what you just said or because people aren't ready for a woman president? Really? How about it's Hillary Clinton? She doesn't connect with people. How about they have nothing in common with her? How about you had no economic message?
All right, that's my hero, Kellyanne Conway, 800-941-SEAN, if you want to be a part of the program, hour 2. And that was her. Every 4 years, Harvard's Kennedy School of Government hosts aides from opposing campaigns and a post-mortem on the presidential election. And it seems like Robbie Mook and Jennifer Palmieri and all the other Hillary Clinton supporters and team members just can't get over their own talking points, which didn't work in the election, as they keep regurgitating the same thing. I think that was the single biggest beatdown at Harvard University in the history of the school. Kellyanne joins us now, and how are you?
I'm great, Sean. How are you today?
You say that so calmly. Why, you're nice to me. I don't think I'd want to be on the receiving end of that fierceness that you have in you. Good grief.
But let's just note something about my guiding principle.
Yeah.
I do not draw first blood. We were attacked. I responded. I'm like Donald J. Trump. People attack him and they say, oh, he's so ungracious. Why is he hitting back? Why is he act presidential? Do you know what has been said about him over the course of the last year and a half? Do you know that quote, professionals who had all the king's horses, all the king's men, all the king's money in Team Clinton and couldn't get it done? Do you know what they accused us of doing? And I'm not going to let that lie. And here's why I'm not going to let it lie. I've got big, broad shoulders. I think everybody knows I'm tough. But let me tell you something. She and they are not going to besmirch the 62 million plus Americans who came out and voted for Trump, the 306 electoral votes we got, the people who lost friendships and family members and colleagues over their support of Donald Trump because they were right and they saw something others could not. I'm not going to allow them to minimize the concerns and the value of those men and women across this country who believed in him, joined his movement, and support his presidency.
Every fight I had during this election year, I don't care if it was Brett Stevens at the Wall Street Journal or Glenn Beck or Jonah Goldberg or Rich Lowry or National Review or the Weekly Standard, I didn't start any of those fights. They hit me and I hit back, and then they whine and cry that I hit them back. And I'm like, these people are biggest babies. But I am tired of this false narrative that they're continuing, that if you're conservative, that you're racist, sexist, xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic. I can't take it anymore. And it didn't work. So what's the point?
And you shouldn't have to take it. No, people don't want to be called names. And there's a difference between what offends you and what affects you. And voters go with what affects them. And they're so tired of these elites literally looking down their noses, beyond their bifocals, telling everybody what to think, what to do, who can win, what their basically self-worth and character was, depending on who they supported for president. And I have to say thank you to the mainstream media. I have to say thank you to academia. I have to say thank you to Harvard. I have to say thank you to the Never Trumpers and to the establishmentarians who did what, Sean? They pushed Donald Trump right to the people and the people right to Donald Trump because this became us versus them. And let me tell you something. There's a lot more of them than there are of us, meaning the elites who are part of politics, part of media, part of the donor class, the consultant class. This is a victory of people. They came out. You can't deny when you look at some of these counties that President Obama carried twice and Donald Trump flipped them completely. In a place like Mahoning County where Tim Ryan, who just tried to right the Democratic Party, save it from itself and reelecting Nancy Pelosi to leadership, and they did it anyway. In the county he represents near Youngstown, Ohio, there was a 26% swing from 2012. That's because of the alt-right? No, that's because Donald Trump marched into Ohio and everywhere else in this country.
I don't even know what the alt-right is. Did you ever hear of it before this election?
No, that's the joke of it. Jen Palmieri saying she was never more proud than the speech that Hillary gave. Seriously? Maybe that was part of the problem. Where was the speech on helping millions of women who are in poverty and don't have health insurance? Where the heck was the speech about an economic agenda and growth agenda, energy investment for the people in these coal country, the steel workers, the laborers. Donald Trump carried labor union households in some places 2-1. And so that's the most proud speech they are. Hillary Clinton flew to Reno, Nevada to give a speech about a website. This is not presidential. And so she was never more proud. Maybe that's because in August you hardly saw Hillary Clinton post-convention. 5 days before the last debate on October 19th in Las Vegas, she took off the entire time. People said, that's just brilliant. She'll be so prepared. She'll be so presidential.
You're so funny.
It's
so ridiculous.
Way to manage
and Donald Trump was doing like 6 events a day. And
exactly.
You know,
and that works. People want you to take the case right to them.
Trump derangement syndrome's becoming a real mental condition now. I mean, here 1,100 jobs are saved through Carrier, and people are going ballistic. The president-elect, spoke with Taiwan's president after Taiwan's president reached out to congratulate Donald Trump. Now, you know, they say this as though Bill Clinton, you know, never allowed the president of Taiwan to give a speech at Cornell in '95, or that George W. Bush didn't allow the president of Taiwan to visit the United States in transit to Latin American countries that maintain diplomatic relations with Taiwan. They say this as though he's the only person in the history of the world to, quote, break presidential protocol. It's just nonsense. And you see how they're reacting. It's so predictable. They don't seem to have learned anything from the election results, is my take.
That's my entire problem, is that nothing was learned. They reelected Chuck Schumer, a liberal in New York, Nancy Pelosi, liberal in San Francisco. They're still attacking Donald Trump like he's at 1% in the primaries. The man was just elected president of the United States. He got 100 more electoral votes than Mitt Romney did, and he had the entire Republican apparatus and everybody supporting him. This is a decisive victory. He's their president. When it comes to Taiwan, the president-elect Trump has made very clear. He received the call, and he received the congratulatory call. He wasn't going to be rude. Everybody's saying, is he changing policy towards China? Does he understand the policy towards China? Does he know where China is? Get off it, everybody. No. You lost the election. Get out of the permanent campaign. Tell Jill Stein and Hillary Clinton's lawyers to go on a nice vacation and celebrate the holidays and just move on and allow this guy to support himself. But you know what? There's one last thing. This guy's unconventional, and that's not going to change. So anybody trying to apply their conventions and their rules to him will be sorely disappointed.
I'll just buy plenty of crayons, coloring books, and Play-Doh for these people because obviously they need more. Let me ask you about this. I shared your concern about Mitt Romney. I think what Mitt Romney did in this campaign to sabotage Donald Trump, by the way, just like Brett Stevens and NRO people and other people, I think that, you know, how they couldn't see a distinction between what Hillary Clinton's Supreme Court justice appointments would look like versus Trump's was enough for me. But these people, never Trumpers, were just always ignorant to me. But what do you make? Al Gore saw President-elect Trump today. Joe Manchin apparently has a meeting this week, and they spoke. And Mitt Romney, of course, who undermined Trump every step of the way. It's making some people nervous. I'm taking it, as long as he doesn't make Mitt Secretary of State, I'm taking it that he's just trying to reach out and bring the country together.
That's all it is. It's what you just said in the last part, Sean. And people can't have it both ways. They can't say, when is he going to reach out? When does he realize this is a divided country and half the country didn't vote for him? And He's doing that every single day with the meetings you just talked about. What about Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii? What about, Heidi Heitkamp has been rumored to come on in and meet with him perhaps. And what about President Obama, for that matter?
You know what I think is funny? Obama? You know how they have the Trump cam in the lobby of Trump Tower? Yes. Am I the only person that knows there are other entrances you can go in? Am I the only person that knows that? It's hilarious.
Sure.
So why do they all go in the front door knowing that they're going to be seen?
They want to be seen with the president-elect. They want everybody to see that they're, quote, bipartisan or open-minded or within the zone of power. And frankly, that's the main entrance. So that's probably where they're told to come. But the fact is, he's going to drive everybody crazy because whatever they think of, no, that's right. Whatever they think, well, his detractors. But it's also, I think, people who are still trying to undermine him. These questions that I get, these articles that are written, many of them still are along the lines of the campaign, which is almost a month ago, by the way. It's 4 weeks ago tomorrow. Here's the other thing. They ask questions about, well, when will he announce this? When will he announce that? We are way ahead of everyone else at this point. President-elect Trump has made a number of cabinet appointments. We'll continue to do that this week. Did it this morning with our friend Dr. Ben Carson. And President Obama's first cabinet appointment was Tim Geithner, his Treasury Secretary, 4 weeks into his president-elect term. 4 weeks. We're not even there yet, and he's got about a half a dozen cabinet members chosen. So we're way ahead of schedule.
I know.
It's a classic Trump thing, ahead of schedule, under budget.
Let me ask you about you. Now, neither one of us believes in identity politics, but I do think that a milestone of great importance was reached. You are the first woman in American history to win and lead as a campaign manager, a winning campaign. And you deserve all the credit for that. You have not taken an official position yet. Have you decided where are you in this process, or do you think maybe you will work outside the administration?
I discussed this with the President-elect just over the weekend, and he knows I'm here for him. I support him and Vice President-elect completely.
Did I just surprise you with a question? You have an answer for everything. You're very quick.
I just don't know why I'm an issue, because I'm going to continue to support him.
Okay, but I'll tell you why I think you're an issue. You're an issue because you're really good, and I think you really served him well in the campaign. And I like good people to surround the President of the United States, and I think you're good for him. That's my honest opinion.
I appreciate that, Sean. Honestly, I do appreciate all that. I'm here for him, very involved in transition, very involved in a number of things that he's doing, and will continue to. And Vice President Pence and I worked together for a number of years, so that will continue. So it's just simple. I either go inside into the West Wing and serve him according to how he sees best, and we discuss that directly, or I stay on the outside and basically build the whole political operation that you can do where you're supporting the judicial nominees, the legislative initiatives. Donald Trump as president will be a man in a hurry. He is going to accomplish many great things very quickly. The excuse of divided government is over, and he has his 100-day plan for all to see, and I hope the first people who read it, Sean, are Republican friends in the House and the Senate, because they need to brush up and get ready for sponsoring any number of these initiatives that he's put forth. And if you do the political operation outside, you can fold that into, I'm told you can fold that into what will be an effort to get 60 Senate votes for the Republicans by 2018. In 2018, Republicans are defending 8 U.S. Senate seats. The Democrats are defending, drumroll please, 25. So we've got a great opportunity to give the President-elect the 60 Senate vote margin that he needs, and I'd be happy to run that from the outside. But look, either way, I'm all in. I'm moving my family to Washington. The President-elect knows how committed I am, and I'm just really excited. Sean, I walk through airports. I walk on Fifth Avenue near where I work. Everybody is so excited, with very few exceptions. Now that it's Christmas time, the people walking on Fifth Avenue aren't just your usual Manhattan, foot traffic of commuters and shop. It's all of America is here. The quote flyover country that Hillary didn't have a message for is here. Everybody is so excited. They feel like a weight has been lifted. They're optimistic about the future. It's just so gratifying to see, and I feel duty bound to the President-elect, but I also feel duty bound to those people, the people who stop me and say, "My daughters love you," or "Thank you for standing up for women," or "Thank you for helping the President-elect get elected." So I feel duty bound to them too, and I will be there for them as well. I love the people, as you know.
To me, what he has going forward is very difficult and also very simple at the same time. He's got to fulfill his promises: 15% corporate tax, 10% repatriation, 7 brackets to 3, energy independence, get rid of Obamacare, health savings accounts, build the wall, education back to the states, identify radical Islam, originalist justices, and you win. Now, pulling all of that off is hard, but if there's anybody that can do it, I think it's him. So anyway, I wish you well, and you work so hard. I know I talked to you throughout the campaign. There were days, now be honest, you didn't sleep more than 2 hours.
Well, and I looked it. I'm sure you're.
No, I did not say that. But I mean,
okay.
No, you look great. All right, we got to roll.
It all worked, Sean. It all worked. Look, it was all for common cause, and it worked. Take care, baby.
All right, thank you, Kellyanne Conway.